There you go.
Just to continue on the topic, I think it's worth investigating that idea of controlling and not wanting to let go,
Hmm.
um, because that's so important, in order to continue on the path of awareness. Because the control that we have is it may be small, it may be large, it may be at work, it may be with family, it may be in a reaction, it may be there's so many ways to be controlling or to
Hmm.
think that you're controlling,
Now you're
right?
talking. Right. Right. Yeah. People talk about, oh, giving up control, giving up control. It's not giving up control. It's giving up the the illusion of control.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. I always come back to, I think the most beautiful metaphor for this is in the opening of The Simpsons. Where we see Homer at working at the nuclear plant, and Bart on his skateboard, and um, Lisa playing the saxophone, getting kicked out of her music class for playing jazz. And then we see little baby Maggie sucking on the pacifier in close up with the steering wheel. And we hear traffic in the background. Oh my God, oh no, a baby's driving a car. And then the camera pulls back and we see, oh no, no, no. She's just in the car seat, in the baby seat with the toy steering wheel, and mom is driving the car.
Right.
That's us. We're baby Maggie.
Right.
We think we're driving the car, but Mother Nature, something way bigger than us, is driving. And great, mom pats us on the head. Good. Enjoy. Play with your little steering wheel. Have fun.
Yeah.
And the lab for realizing in a very simple, direct, vivid way that this is the case is meditation.
Right.
Because in meditation, one of the important things that happens in meditation is that we keep trying to control what's going on and keep failing.
Mm.
It's very important that we try as many times as we need to, and find out that the number of times we try to control what happens in meditation is exactly equal to the number of times we fail.
Right. Right.
Exactly equal, as however many times we have to go through that till we really truly give up.
Hmm. And tied into that control is the idea of worry, because worry is also a way to attempt to control, um, and maybe anticipate an outcome or predict an outcome, and worry is just so
Oh,
unhelpful.
it's such a waste of life.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation the other day with a dear friend, and I've had this same conversation with a number of people over the years. She's a mom and a grandmom, um, and she's just telling me about how much she worries all the time, and I was, you know, trying to very gently point out to her that actually the worrying does not, it doesn't buy any groceries. It doesn't ward off, and it doesn't. And she said, I know that logically, but psychologically, emotionally, just something in me so deep feels that if I stop worrying about my family, something terrible will happen.
Right. Right. Hmm.
And I think that's a pretty widespread thing.
Yeah.
And I suspect I suspect more with women than men from my anecdotal experience.
I think there's that issue of control, worry, and then
I
and
mean, men, give us a warm meal and, you know, hand us the remote. We're pretty much okay.
no, I think that's changing. I don't think
Yeah,
that's Yeah, I think that's
that's a
changing a lot.
cliche. Yeah.
Yeah, it's changing. It's another the new generation. I mean, I think it's changing, but I think that whole concept
It's
is for
becoming
men
more
and women.
more equal opportunity worry.
Yeah, I know a
Huh.
lot of men who worry as much as other women, but
Yeah.
it's the worry, the control, and the fact that there's no outcome, you nothing will come of it,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, now that you say that, I mean, I'm realizing, I'm thinking about younger people. You know, I hear so much about anxiety with people
Yeah,
in their 20s and 30s.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, kind of objectively, you can, you know, they're growing up at a time where, the whole, climate change and
right,
the imminent death of democracy. And, there's, if you needed material to worry about, there's no shortage of material.
right.
So to say, well, but the worrying doesn't really change anything. It doesn't really help anything. It becomes more challenging to make that case.
Well, I don't know if we're being bombarded by wars and climate change and it's just it's too much. I mean, obviously somebody can make a decision to do something about it
Yeah,
in their own small way, but because of the media, we're just bombarded by this information, and it's the way we handle it is just so important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I always feel that it's important to be a good family member to our families, a good friend to our friends, and a good citizen to our world. And whatever that, and each of us has to kind of find our way to what that means. What does it mean to be a good son or daughter or mother or father or sibling in your particular family situation? You
Right.
got to work that out for yourself, and that's always evolving. And you're hopefully always coming to it because of your meditative practice, coming to it
Yeah.
with a wider, looser, more light infused perspective.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
similarly, as far as being a good citizen of the world, are you going to be, working on the front lines for this? Are you going to be donating to that organization? Are you going to be in this, participating in this protest or demonstration or supporting this candidate or opposing this candidate? You know, Everyone's got to feel that out for themselves. But the one thing I'm convinced of is that worrying about it buys no groceries. It doesn't help. It's if anything, it's a substitute. Worrying is a substitute for taking effective action.
Yeah.
And um,
But it's a hope for control. It's a
yes,
desperate hope to control where
yeah,
you really aren't.
right. And in that sense, it's magical thinking.
You're right.
It's magical thinking. If I worry enough, I can control the situation. But you can't.
Right.
And if we're really going to be free, which is what this stuff is all about, liberation. Um, I think part of the path is that recognition, recognizing your various forms of magical thinking and relaxing your grip on them.
Yeah. There's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, fortunately, most of the work we have to put quotation marks around that word work
Yeah.
because most of it's letting go, letting be.
Letting go. Hmm.
It's it's sitting with your eyes closed, and, and then coming back out and taking things a little easier and being a little kinder.
Yeah. But in recognizing magical thinking, I mean, you have to, you should, or you could, or you probably would recognize it before, you can kind of disassemble it and then meditate through it, you know?
Yeah, well, I think
recognizing the problem.
you're putting your finger on a good thing, which is the magical thing, and a lot of this stuff, a lot of our old habit patterns,
The
maybe
habit.
habit patterns of um, falling into certain kinds of non-helpful exchanges with other people. Some people, we might have just a habit of being sarcastic when we're with them, or
Right.
of poking them and prodding them in a way that we thought was funny, and then one day we realize that's not funny. They don't like that. That's unkind.
Mhm.
uh, all of these habits are habits of worrying and so forth. And that, as we were saying earlier tonight, that more and more we kind of feel there's more space around things. Things are less hurried, they're less claustrophobic as we're re-engaging with activity every day coming out of our meditation, because meditation is just complete space. So we come back with more of this spaciousness, and we have more time,
Mhm.
so that at the beginning of starting to fall into this habit pattern, we have more time, more space to catch ourselves and nip it earlier in the bud.
Yeah. Or at least be aware.
Yeah, at least be aware, and even if just we find ourselves being aware of it and going, oh shit, am I really doing this again? And now it's too late, I'm caught in the pattern, I'm caught in the conversation. But even that's a constructive step,
Mhm.
because that's a thing we were not seeing before, and it's taking us one step closer to really nipping it in the bud the next time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so wonderful to be able to have these kinds of conversations, because this is the kind of conversation we can only have with, what we call mature practitioners, people who've been practicing this stuff for a while. You can see, and to me, this is where it becomes really interesting, where we've been doing it for a while. Just meditate, come out, meditate, come out, meditate, come out, and just all the subtle nuances of how life starts to change, and it all turns out to be good. Sometimes it's a little puzzling on the way, and so it's useful to have these little talks. Good.